Hello, BookTube. Welcome back to the History Shelf and Merry Christmas Eve. Yeah, I'm surprised I'm filming on Christmas Eve, but I've got time off, and I thought uh, the books have been piling up around me, per usual. As you can probably see back in the corner down there, I've got a bunch. This I thought, I've been watching a little bit of BookTube, and I've seen people kind of slowing down right now or doing a lot of Christmas theme related stuff. And you know what? I'm just gonna bring you the meat and potatoes, which is what I know a lot of you guys like. You like just history books and history hauls and used book hauls. I've had a couple people say, please show more of your used book finds because we can't afford full price stuff, and hey, most of the times I cannot either. So I do a lot of thrift shopping and ordering from third parties on Amazon or thrift books, or a few times from Book Depository, I think. Anyway, so I wanted to show you some recent used books that I picked up and see what you think about them. One of them I'm really pleased about. I was able to find this. Well, this is in run up to in preparation for a buddy read. Things have been really crazy around here and busy and good. We've had ups and downs and all over the place. I'm not going to get into all that, but my buddy read with Bill Rutenberg for the new Alan Gelzo biography on Robert E. Lee might get postponed till January. But in run up to that, it made me think of one of the classic works of Civil War history. And I am a Civil War nut, and I have read extensively in the area. I had I realized I had a book packed away, which I probably won't be able to find until we unpack at the new place. Hopefully, more news coming on that. But it was an abridged version of Douglas Southall Freeman's Lee's Lieutenants, which is a fantastic work. But I wanted the unabridged set. And so I started hunting. And lo and behold, I lucked out on thrift books. I highly recommend thriftbooks.com because you can earn points towards each purchase that goes towards a free book once you hit your reward limit. But I found 3 used books in softcover, which are in fairly good condition. One of them was not as described. It's ripped on the back, but I'm going to reinforce it, and I'll be fine with it. So just take the sticker off here. But this is the first volume. This is the set that Scribner's put out. This is Lee's Lieutenants, Manassas to Malvern Hill, by, of course, Douglas Southall Freeman, the famed and hagiographic biographer of Robert E. Lee. But, I've always been fascinated by the interplay of Robert E. Lee with his generals. And it was a very eclectic assortment of generals, very fascinating personalities, entertaining in many ways, with different ideas about different levels of aggression, or not aggression so much as offensively minded as opposed to defensively minded, and how they interpreted Lee's orders. So it's always been fascinating to me about his generals. In this case, they say lieutenants, but anyway. So this is the first volume. This is the one that has the rip, as you could see. But that's fine. I'm going to pretty certain how to fix this, but I might go ahead and reinforce the whole book. I think I need to go watch a David Murphy video. I think he showed how we did that with the packing tape or whatever. So, but it's nice big chunkster of a book. Oh yeah, there's D.H. Hill. That's Daniel Harvey Hill. He's a little bit lesser known, but I've always been intrigued by him. Stonewall Jackson, we all know him. Here's my guy. I've always liked James Longstreet. So big book. This is the what year did this version is the 19 19 I don't think it's 1970, but can't really find the date here. Anyway, nice volume. So I got that on Thrift Books for probably about $5 or $6. And then I had a free book reward. So, I got the 3 volume set for under $10. And you can do the same with whatever you're looking for. And this one was in almost perfect condition. Volume 2, I think Volume 1 was the most beat up. And Volume 2 is pristine in comparison. I'm taking off the thrift book stickers. They're sticking to my hand. So Volume 2 is Cedar Mountain to Chancellorsville. Look at that. It's just, there's a little bit of a rep there. It's not a big problem. I've just always wanted to have the unabridged version of Lee's Lieutenant. So now I have an abridged somewhere in hardcover packed away. And then I have this beautiful 3 volume set. And here's the final one. This one I think is biggest of all. It's really big. And Gettysburg to Appomattox. So I kind of really lucked out on my used book hunting, my thrift shopping there. Except for Second and Charles, I don't find the type of books the rest of you guys seem to find. You seem to find amazing books at thrift stores. For some reason, in the few thrift stores I've been to out here, it's just been to me just garbage, just, fiction, modern day, bestsellers, crap, Oprah's list. I'm never finding history finds, so it's very rare that I find something good. So I have to do a lot of my thrift shopping online. That's just the way it is. And I do take chances not being able to hold the book and look at it before I purchase it. But I really lucked out on the Lee's Lieutenant. So, again, a beautiful set. Every volume has a different color. Isn't that beautiful? Again, that rip over here on Volume 1 I'll take care of. But this is something that will be added to my Civil War library. This is something I will keep always. I've given away some of my Civil War books. Mostly like book club editions. But this is something I will keep with me forever. All right, well, sticking with Civil War, it was about a month ago, I think, that the days just kind of are so fluid. They just run into each other, don't they? Because I feel like it wasn't but maybe a week ago. But Martina and I decided to start watching Ken Burns' Civil War documentary again on Prime or whatever it was. Because I just missed it. I'm like, I need to be watching Civil War stuff. And I miss because I'm reading a lot of books now for a review. I'm a book reviewer, in addition to my day job. So that has taken up a lot of my my free time lately, and reading books that I'm commissioned for and assigned, including fiction. Some places I get only history. Some places I get like mystery or thrillers. So I'm kind of expanding my repertoire of book review writing. So it's kind of fun, but it keeps me busy, and I don't get to read as much as my areas of passion. But I was like, let's watch this. I really miss it. And we started watching it, and we always joke around because we love the voice of Julie Andrews. Was it Julie? Not Julie Andrews. Julie Harris doing Mary Chestnut, right? Reading from her famed diary. And I know in the past I had played around with trying to find a good version of that diary, and I would love to read it. Because I think diaries are fascinating snapshots into the day-to-day, and you're just literally taken out of time and plucked and placed down into another time as that person's writing it about that day. And I've always loved that sense of connection, across the decades or even centuries. And so, it put me on another, I'm like, I'm smelling a used book hunt. Let me see what I can find out there. Well, did I luck out or did I luck out? I think this was also either from Thrift Books or an Amazon third party. I think I might have ordered it off of Amazon. Look at this bad boy. And this is not any type of abridgment or anything. And this is I think the 1980 hardcover of Mary Chestnut's Civil War, edited by C. Van Woodward. It even has like the winner of the 1982 Pulitzer Prize in History. Beautiful condition. Look at this. This is put out from Yale. Look, they don't even use that. It's just so old. This they've changed their logo. It doesn't look like that anymore. Beautiful hardcover. when did this was yeah, 1981. Perfect condition. I mean, look at this. Yeah, that's nothing. Nice. The spine is nice and tight, and oh, and I had opened up to one spot, right, and it made Martine laugh. I started reading from the diary, and Mary Chestnut's voice, as done by Julie Harris in the Ken Burns documentary, and it made Martine laugh. She's like, you ought to read that like that on the on your next video when you show this book, because I was like, Mary Chestnut, Well, no, I did it much better than that, but um, I started reading the line about when she hears Fort Sumter being fired on, I fall prostrate on the floor and prayed like I've never prayed before. Mary Chestnut. They say that after every line they do in the documentary. Anyway, so a beautiful book, complete, unabridged. It's massive. This book is almost 900 pages. Oh, I'm just so happy to have it. This is another one that will always stay. This will always stay in this home and in this library of my Civil War books. So, hang on one second. Okay, sorry about that. So the next book I have is also Civil War related, around that era. This was to kind of supplement my own reading, my buddy read, that is wrapping up for me, hopefully by the end of this year, for the biography on Frederick Douglass by David Blight, which is an amazing read. It's a big read. It's a big commitment. It's a very big book. But hopefully I should be finishing it on my time off. I'm now on vacation until the new year, so that's great. But one of our readers in the Buddy Read, Patrice Jones, had said she saw this book at the library and checked it out. And I was like, I think I'd like to have this. It's a coffee table size book, lavishly with photographs illustrated. So I was just curious to see if I could find it used somewhere, and I did for probably about $10 or $12. But it was very worth it. Look at this. Picturing Frederick Douglass, an illustrated biography of the 19th century's most photographed American. Let's get John Stouffer, Zoe Trott, Celeste Marie Berner, with an epilogue by Henry Louis Gates Jr. and an afterword by Kenneth B. Morris Jr. So as you can see, get my microphone out of the way here. Very large book. It's just something awesome to page through and see different pictures of Frederick Douglass and his life. We get a little section on Lincoln here too. I'm going to go back to the beginning here. I think this one is one of my favorites. This one right here. Nope, that one. Sorry for the glare. So it combines all the different photos and drawings and that have been taken of Frederick Douglass. And let's see, later in life here, you can see just a ton of different photos. Wow. So yeah, I picked that up. It's going to enter into the Civil War Library and stay there. So I thought I'd show that to you guys. Okay, I'm really excited about this set, and I'm trying to figure out when I'm going to start reading this series. In one of my previous, I think it was in my Second and Charles used book haul, either part 1 or part 2, I showed you a book that I discovered there by an author I'd never heard of, and about the French Revolution, which of course I've always been fascinated by, and I've read several books on it, and I want to read more. And the book I had showed you was Volume 1 that I was lucky enough to procure at Second and Charles, and it was Twilight of the Old Order, Age of the French Revolution by Claude Manceron. Now, in the video, I said, you know what, I'll check this out. I'll read the first volume and I'll see if it's something I want to continue. Maybe I'll look for the other volumes because it was it's a 4-volume set. And one of you, five volumes, sorry. So it's a 5-volume study by Claude Manceron. And one of you gracious viewers out there, the astute readers who watch this program and give me advice and recommendations, chimed in the comments and said, "Oh, I highly recommend this. You will love it. You know, this is something you're going to want to read." And so I was like, well, I'm on my way now to go find the other volumes. Thank you. So thank you to that person. And sure enough, I started looking on thrift books, and I think one volume I got off of Amazon used, but the rest I found on thrift books for maybe $13, $14 total. So let's start off with volume 2, since I already have the volume 1, which is Twilight of the Old Order. So here's volume 2. I have the whole set now, if you can believe it. And they're in really good condition. This is Age of the French Revolution, volume 2, The Wind from America, 1778 to 1781. Of course, I love it. And I wanted to make sure I got the same type of editions, so they all resembled each other with a certain artwork, certain layout and fonts and stuff. You know, the cursive script up here for the title. Anyway, it says A Celebrated Chronicle by Claude Manceron. And this was put out by Simon & Schuster, Touchstone. I'm really excited to check this out. So that's what I was hunting for, was the same type of look and feel. That's something I look forward to when I'm looking for used books, in case anyone's interested. And I knew if I'm getting a 5-volume set, I wanted them all to look alike. That's just me. I'm a weirdo. I like symmetry in that. But anyway, just your standard history of not your standard, because as the first volume said, it combines culture and the intellectual history along with the actual historical events going on at the time, and kind of almost reads almost like in a novel type of fashion in sections, is what I've been told. It's witty, it's urbane, and I just love the layout here, where each chapter kind of has here we go. You see, just very cool. So volume 2, I got that. And then got volume 3. See, they all got the same look going on here. Love it. This is volume 3. Their gracious pleasure, 1782 to 1785. Yeah. Let's see. So obviously the other one kind of covers American and interactions with the French. Let's see. In their gracious pleasure, a storm is gathering. In the afterglow of the Franco-American victory at Yorktown, the French at home celebrate a royal air, but the vacuity and decadence of the nobility are causing tremors of unrest. The sword is foreshadowed by the word. Anti-monarchist drama and the scandalous liaisons dangerous liaisons, rock society. Scientists are impatient for change, and Robespierre endorses Benjamin Franklin's lightning rods, while the battle of the balloons rages until Montgolfier triumphs in the air. See, it's kind of fun. It's kind of like a social and cultural history as well. From John Adams and John Jay to Goya and Catherine of Russia, personalities large and small populate an immense canvas. Claude Manceron's masterfully researched Their Gracious Pleasure chronicles an era in bold pattern and intimate detail. A complete experience in itself. Their Gracious Pleasure adds a brilliant dimension to our understanding of the age. There's that balloon they're talking about there on the cover. So that is volume 3. Then we move on to volume 4, Toward the Brink, 1785 to 1787. Um, they're just beautiful books. I've never heard of this history or this writer. I've read the standard histories on French Revolution, Simon Schama, Citizens was a great book. Oh gosh, there were a couple of others like standalone books I've read on Robespierre. Um, I have a book on Danton, which I really want to start soon. I think they're right up over here on my other shelf. Sorry, I'm just taking a sticker off. Okay, so in Toward the Brink, 1785 to 1787, Claude Manceron powerfully recreates a France where Louis VI plays cards at Versailles while artisans riot and deadly epidemics spread among destitute peasants. Amid rumors of lesbianism, Marie Antoinette is trapped in a scandal that enmeshes the chief cardinal of France, his mistress, and the most expensive necklace in the world. While Mozart triumphs with the premiere of his opera, The Marriage of Figaro, the Marquis de Sade rots in the Bastille, writing 120 Days of Sodom. Benjamin Franklin leaves France at last, determined to die on his own soil. Good man. As bankruptcy overtakes rich and poor alike, this doomed society is drawn inexorably toward the historic 14th of July. So Toward the Brink. I kind of like it. It all leads up to it. This is, indeed, the header of Age of the French Revolution, is basically setting the stage for it, which I think is fascinating. Okay, and then we have the final, which is when things really blow up. I'm sorry if you can hear that. That is our trash truck. That's where I went earlier. I realized I hadn't pushed the trash bin out. Yeah, the trash people are here to pick up the stuff. Okay, I gotta get the sticker off. Sorry. Oh, you guys, I'm sorry that I haven't had a video up sooner. I really got behind on a couple of projects on some books I was reviewing because some stuff going on in life just overtook me, and but fingers crossed. I think thinking better days are ahead. And I kind of just had to hunker down and try to get my work done. And I wasn't able to make videos, which is sad because I love talking to you guys and I love putting up content and sharing these books and getting more books on your TBR, right? Because that's what it's all about here at BookTube. All right, so Volume 5, in the final volume in Claude Manceron's magisterial study is The Blood of the Bastille, 1787 to 1789. I'm so excited I can't even speak. And there you go. Don't they have a great look and feel, all of these books? I think I might put this in the thumbnail. I'll make a thumbnail and I'll take pictures of this. But anyway, it's fantastic. So obviously, this is the ultimate book here. It is, revolution is in the air as Louis XVI attempts to wipe out France's deficit without encroaching on the wealth of the upper class. The tenuous solidarity of the nobility and clergy weakens, and in June of 1789, the Third Estate, the elected officials, declares itself the sole representative of the nation. As riots break out, the king turns to the army in an attempt to regain control. By July 14th, the tension peaks. Fueled by rumors of thousands of troops ready to charge, citizens prepare for battle, erecting barricades and demanding arms. In need of ammunition, they storm the Bastille, symbol of an intolerable regime. Monumental, yet vivid as a novel, as I said earlier, Manceron's masterfully researched Blood of the Bastille chronicles the era in bold pattern and intimate detail. So, my volume 1 is somewhere else right now, but basically, I got the whole set. So thank you, viewer, for telling me it's worth having and reading. So I'm going to try to get that scheduled real soon. Okay, and then this book was more of a... I was going to order this from Liberty Fund, and I was, I thought I could stack coupons again, and I was wrapped on the knuckles by the folks at Liberty Fund. But this book was one of them that I wanted, and so I was really upset. So I was like, well, then, okay, fine. I can't, I'm going to go look and see if I can find this used somewhere else. And I did for like $6. And the thing is mammoth, okay? And this is more of a, oh gosh, what would you call this? Well, it's a collection of all of the printed articles from a journal at the back in the 60s, but this kind of falls under like libertarian economic thinking, policy. Anyway, this is New Individualist Review, and it contains all. I've never heard of it, but it contains all of the writings from this journal that was put out in the 60s. And it's called a periodical reprint of Liberty Fund. So Liberty Fund put it together. And as you can see, it kind of, volume 1 is like 1961 to 1968. So it only ran for like 7 years, right? But you've got the like big thinkers in here. We've got Milton Friedman articles, people writing about Hayek. I love reading old journal articles. I just do. And I couldn't believe that I found, oh, yeah. And this guy's A.J.P. Taylor. A.J.P. Taylor is a big historian. Look at that. And the causes of World War II. So there's like lots of history essays in here as well. Let's see. We've got... yeah, of course, and some of the policy stuff would be very dated, but, it gives you an insight into what the country was, what people were talking about at the time. I just love it. Gosh, it's so interesting. Ayn Rand's For the New Intellectual by Bruce Goldberg. I mean, I just think this is a one-of-a-kind find. I was originally going to buy it from Liberty Fund for like $18 and then plus shipping. I found it for $6, free shipping. Beautiful condition. I lucked out on this used book find. Just completely lucked out. So yeah, it's kind of different, but I'm going to add that to my my kind of like intellectual writing. My essays. I have like a shelf full of different essays and stuff like that. And then to go along with that, thanks to David Murphy, he reminded me about this book, which had fallen off my radar, and I did want to get this book, but I was waiting for the price to go down because everywhere I've looked, the book is like $30-$35. Even used, it was in the 20s. So, I did pay a little bit more for this, but this is an ex-library copy, so it's got the Mylar cover, but it is the biography of Russell Kirk, and I have several books by Russell Kirk. Sorry for the glare. Russell Kirk, American Conservative by Bradley J. Birzer. So it still has the library sticker on it. They said it was pretty new condition, but then I looked at the side and I'm like, holy, what? This is not like new condition, but you know what? I'll deal with it. It's not going to be a big problem. In case you don't know who Russell Kirk is, let me read this to you. When Russell Kirk published his seminal 1953 book, The Conservative Mind, the American right was adrift. Emerging from 2 decades of the Great Depression and the New Deal at home and radical ideologies in conflict abroad, conservatism seemed beaten and broken in the post-war world. Although luminaries such as William F. Buckley, Leo Strauss, and Eric Voegelin all published important works in the early 1950s, none of their writings would match the influence of Kirk's masterpiece, which became a rallying point for a reinvigorated tradition. The shy 35-year-old author became an intellectual celebrity and the founder of a growing movement. In this definitive biography, Bradley J. Birzer investigates the life and work of one of the 20th century's most important men of letters. Birzer employed unprecedented access to papers and diaries that have only recently become available to the public, and he draws on these sources to explore the roots and development of Kirk's thought. He is also the first biographer to examine the theorists' what does this say? Prolific writings on literature and culture, areas of inquiry that Kirk believed could not be separated from the political and economic realms. This magisterial study reveals the ways in which Kirk employed correspondence, friendships, conferences, books, both fiction and nonfiction, and newspaper columns to build a conservative Christian humanist movement. In addition, it illuminates the thinker's influence on figures such as T.S. Eliot, William F. Buckley Jr., and Senator Barry Goldwater, who persuaded a reluctant Kirk to participate in his campaign for the presidency. In 1964, although several books examine the evolution of post-war conservatism and libertarianism, surprisingly few works explore Kirk's life and thought in detail. This engaging biography not only offers a fresh and thorough assessment of one of America's most influential thinkers, but also reasserts his humane vision in an increasingly inhumane time. Isn't that true? I love biography, and it's fine to read his other books about like conservative theory, conservative thought, stuff like that. But I like to know about the person too. So I love biography. And I was happy that I could find a version of this that I could afford, you know. Oh yes, and then I picked this one up because I wanted to read more about this battle during the Iraq War, which was the Battle of Fallujah. This came on the heels of a book I recently read and reviewed. It is out now, but it's called "They Called Us Lucky." It's about one of the Marine Corps Reserve battalions in Iraq that suffered the highest number of casualties during the Iraq War, and is written by Representative Ruben Gallego. I think he's a representative in Arizona. But the way he had described the battle and what was going on over there, and from the soldiers' viewpoint, was fascinating, and I wanted to learn more about the Battle of Fallujah. So I picked up Fallujah Awakens by Bill Ardolino, and the subtitle is Marines, Sheikhs, and the Battle Against Al-Qaeda. This came out in 2013. Now, this is a great used copy. It's put out by Naval Institute Press, but I found a used copy online for nothing, really. I mean, it was real cheap. Let me go ahead and read this to you. Fallujah, the cradle of an insurgency that plunged Iraq into years of chaos and bloodshed, conjures up images of the brutal house-to-house fighting that occurred during the 2004 U.S. invasion of the iconic city. The violence peaked again 2 years later when American Marines and Iraqi government forces struggled with a reinvigorated insurgency and the prospect of premature withdrawal by U.S. forces. One of the few books to recount events from both American and Iraqi perspectives, Fallujah Awakens tells the story of the remarkable turnaround that began to take place in 2006 to 2007. Journalist Bill Ardolino explains how local tribal leaders and U.S. Marines forged a surprising alliance that helped secure the famous battleground. Based on more than 120 interviews with Iraqis and Americans, Ardolino explores how a company of reservists, led by a medical equipment sales manager from Michigan, succeeded where previous efforts had stalled. Circumstance combined with smart leadership enabled Marines to build relationships with members of a Sunni tribe, once written off as dangerous and intractable, who pushed al-Qaeda and other insurgents from this notoriously rebellious area. Accidental killings, intertribal rivalries, insurgents, and intrigue all conspired to undo the tenuous alliance forged on Fallujah's peninsula. But the partnership was cemented after a Marine commander's risky decision to welcome nearly 100 injured civilians onto a secure American facility after a ruthless chemical attack by al-Qaeda. Ardolino's exhaustive documentation will prove valuable to military students, analysts, and historians, and will help policymakers better understand what is and is not possible in counterinsurgency. Photographs and maps further enhance the reader's understanding of the struggle for Fallujah, from tribal dynamics to the geography of firefights. Yeah. And this was highly blurbed by Publishers Weekly as well. Oh, Lord, what's happening here? Whoa. Okay, lots of pictures, sorry. Yeah, this is going to be good. And I think this book was also part of the bibliography, and I think it was from They Called Us Lucky. I've read a couple of books recently about Iraq War, Afghanistan War, and this was part of the bibliography that recommended this book. So I kind of wanted to check this out. So Fallujah Awakens. That was another recent used book that I picked up. Now, the last one for now, I'm at 35 minutes pretty much. I feel like I have more to show you. I think I do. I think they might be in my bedroom, but I'll show that next time. This I found thanks to Bill Rutenberg at the Rutenberg Library, because he showed that he picked this up at a thrift store somewhere, and I was like, I have never heard of this, and I never heard of this series of books, and I am a sucker for multi-volume historical studies. I just am a sucker, as you can see. I bought the entire Manseron set, Lee's Lieutenants, my folio societies. I've got the Story of Civilization right there on that shelf. I got all of them except for the first one on our Oriental Heritage by Will and Ariel Durant. I've got that set. Next to it, I've got the Folio Society. Right there is the history of the rise and fall of the Roman Empire by Edward Gibbon. And I have other sets. I love sets. So apparently, this was... Sorry about that. My finger hit the space bar on my keyboard, and apparently that pauses the video. Good to know. I'm glad it didn't stop the video. Bill Rutenberg showed this book. I think he had one of the volumes. Maybe it was this volume. Maybe it was volume 1. Bill, tell me which one you got. But I decided to look for it. And I wanted to get the same version because I like the cover. I like these old books. I got A New Age Now Begins, A People's History of the American Revolution by Paige Smith. Volume 1. It's a little bit beaten up. It's put out by McGraw-Hill. This is a used book. This is definitely an older book, and here's our author on the back. They don't do this anymore, like the blue end papers there. Look at this. No one does anyone do this anymore? It's so decadent. I just love how publishing used to be so decadent. They put so much into their books. And then I love how he dedicated it to Samuel Eliot Morison, master of the art of narrative history. And that's another huge set that I have. I bought the softcover set of Samuel Eliot Morison's A Study of the Naval History of World War II. And I bought that from Naval Institute Press. I had never heard of Paige Smith as an American historian. And this is all about, on these big wide pages that no one makes anymore. Do you see? Maybe it's hard to see the dimensions from here on camera, but it's like a wider page, I'm a sucker for these types of books because I know this type of publishing will never come back again. You see how everything's changed in size and format, and of course there's just more ebooks and stuff like that. But this is like a golden age of publishing, I think. So this was published in 1976. Hell yeah. They made books back in the 70s, baby. So let me just read this to you real quick, and I'll wrap up for now, and I'll try to get some more videos done here in the next day or 2 or 3. Lord knows, and I have a stack of periodicals. Hands up if anyone wants me to make a video of my history and intellectual journals that I subscribe to. Also some other fun stuff. I subscribe to mystery magazines, but I've got tons of stuff. Too much, as you can see from my magazine rack. Anyway, let me read this description. A New Age Now Begins is the most comprehensive narrative of the American Revolution written specifically for the general public. Paige Smith has authored a monumental work designed to bring the revolution to the people. Not only the story of the revolution, it is an account of the development of a new human type, and this is in quotes, an American, and a new kind of human consciousness. Taking his cue from the famous comment of John Adams that the revolution took place in the hearts and minds of Americans long before the first shot was fired, the author describes how the American people were able to accomplish the most remarkable movement of a people from subordination to self-government in history, a kind of model of how a dependent people may become independent that has fascinated revolutionaries and politicians ever since. A New Age Now Begins combines a freshness of style with a vastness of substance. Filled with stories and anecdotes, the narrative creates an awareness of the revolution as a people's rebellion and a remarkable human drama. Presenting a revisionist interpretation of the American Revolution and the and the events which preceded it, a new age now begins, defines the revolution as a popular uprising, the first of what would today be described as a people's liberation movement. It covers every aspect of the revolutionary struggle, dealing with Congress, the states, the British Parliament, and British public opinion, the actions and feelings of the colonists, soldiers, Tories, women, blacks, and Indians. The land battles are dramatically told, and the naval warfare recreated in superb detail. As the author of the first major work on the Revolution in almost 100 years, Page Smith has the advantage in trying to interpret the Revolution for the modern reader of three crucial intervening episodes in our history: World Wars I and II, and the Vietnam War. It is the author's contention that history itself is our best teacher. Well, I agree with that wholeheartedly. He has thus incorporated what the history of his own times has taught him into this vast narrative of the American Revolution. Okay, there is danger sometimes, though, in trying to read in the history of your own time or with the current events in your own time, trying to read that into the past. I mean, it's good to you can make connections, but sometimes you can't. It's not an apples to apples type of thing. But I'm intrigued. I did not know this would be a revisionist history. Having been written in the mid-'70s, I don't know how revisionist it's going to be. But we'll take a look. Bill, let me know which volume you have. Did you have volume 1 too? But I tried looking for the others in the same binding and cover, and it's impossible. I can't find the other ones that look like this. This might be a volume 1 and done for me, unfortunately, unless I can stumble upon the other volumes. And how many volumes are there in this series? It doesn't... who knows? Maybe he wasn't able to finish it. If anyone has information on this author or this series of books or how many he actually wrote, please let me know. And it's fascinating when you take the jacket off. Again, it's just a really beautiful book. It's just really different. Yeah. I mean, it's an older book, and I love older books. I am actually going to try to go back up to Second and Charles on my break. I'm going to take up some more books and other things that I can turn in for credit, and we'll see what I can find there. But for right now, guys, that is my findings, my treasures that I have found, my used thrift shopping for history and whatnot and biography. Let me know what you think. If you have more information on any of these books, especially the Page Smith, let me know in the comments below. In the meantime, I hope you're having a joyous Christmas Eve with family and friends. I'm doing something unusual in that I'm going to go out to Barnes & Noble right now. Just because I have a little bit of freedom from some deadlines, and I turned in a big piece of work yesterday, both a review and an associated article about Churchill. Again, I finished reading Jeffrey Wheatcroft's Churchill's Shadow about a week, not too long ago, and about a week ago, but we had other things going on here. It's a fascinating book. I highly recommend it. Anyway, but I was writing all day yesterday, and I wanted to get up to Barnes & Noble because I wanted to get the new World War II magazine that I saw, again, on Bill's channel. Looks like a cover story about a submarine, a U-boat that went down, and it looks fascinating. So I'm going to try to find that. And I'm just going to browse and treat myself to just being out of the house. Seems like COVID is hitting nearer and closer to home every day, so I'm trying to be more and more careful. It's kind of taken a hit on holiday plans, so that's unfortunate. But so I'm going to go out to the bookstore, have my mask on, and be careful, and spend my Christmas Eve browsing the newsstand and books, whatnot. I don't think I'll buy anything book-wise from Barnes & Noble because, again, I can't stand the fact that their bargain book section is first of all, there's nothing there that interests me, hardly ever now. And now that they've raised prices even on the bargain books, so it's just a little bit too much. So, but I'll let you know. I probably will do a video just on all the different magazines that I've gotten in the mail and what I picked up at the newsstand. If you're interested. I mean, it's mostly history, some archaeology, intellectual, essays, intellectual journals, current events journals, things like this. But anyway, I'll stop there. I could keep on rambling. I haven't talked to you guys in a while. I will make a video soon, and I have a special guest that I want to introduce everyone to, which I think you guys might appreciate. I know we do. So, in the meantime, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Enjoy your time off, everybody, and hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like me, subscribe me, and I'll keep doing what I'm doing because it's all about you, BookTube. In the meantime, take care. We'll talk soon.